Welcome to my live stream, or perhaps you're catching the replay. So, welcome. My name is Hannah. This is Reality Awareness. I'm going to talk about dimensions, time feeling weird, timeline jumping, buildings are portals, dreams are portals, dreams are really clear. The differentiation between dreams being just a sleeping dream and an actual like portal or a visitation or something's weird and different going on. There's eclipses coming up. We're in a full moon about to peak in a few hours. Eclipses, Mercury retrograde is starting again soon. There are so many solar flares, big cosmic shifts. Like there's so much activity going on. We're going to chat about it because a lot of people are messaging me and there's a lot of conversations around feeling out of time, feeling like it's Friday. No, it's Wednesday. Oh, what? Hang on a sec. What day is it? And not out of a ungrounded space, but just like time feels really different right now. Do you feel that? What's going on for you? Let me know. Are you feeling the timeline shifts? Are you feeling the weirdness with the timelines, or feeling like you're in two worlds? Like what's going on for you? Let's chat about that. Yeah? Let's chat about that. Yeah, things have been overwhelming. Okay, in what aspect overwhelming? Like give me some examples. Like you're really busy, or like the energies are overwhelming. Like what exactly is overwhelming? I'm just gonna share this as I'm waiting for some people to jump on. And whilst we're waiting, you can let me know if this is your first time to my live stream, or if you've been here forever. And if this is your first time, where are you tuning in from around the world? I haven't been on live stream for, it seems like, a long time. I gotta go kick up the ass for my mentor, and I'm like, okay. It's not like I've been sitting around doing nothing. I've driven like, it's just so much life stuff going on, right? And I worked out yesterday when I was driving home, because 2 days ago I had a breakdown driving home. Like I was just like, I could tell in the afternoon, I'm like, I need to cry. Like I just knew it, you know, I was like getting agitated, and I'm like, okay, let's just have a check-in, because it takes 45 minutes to drive home from wherever I am, right? And I was like, let's just have a check-in, Hannah, like doing a little mental check, right? Because whenever anything's overwhelming, or whenever anything's going on, or whenever you're like, yeah, it's like, there's always more that builds up. There's always more that builds up from just like the current day, current moment thing. Like that's a given. Do you know what I mean? Like there's always something that, like it'll reach a point. You can do it, and then it just reaches a point, right? And I knew I was reaching that point, and as I was driving, I was like, okay, Hannah, let's just have a check-in, right? So let's have a check-in with, you know, exactly where you're at. And I was driving, and I'm like, okay, well, let's just see, because the driving really, it's a big deal, like out here. Like as a single mom running my business, my teenage daughter's ready to go out and socialize after like the past 7 to 8 years of being in her, you know, introvert. She's now coming out. She's just turned 14 and she's coming out, right? So she's like ready for life. Funny about that. And so obviously there's a lot of driving on my part, and it's a lot, because anyone who knows, who has to drive a long distance, like it takes up time. Like, and it's not just like you drive there, it's the doing whatever you're doing and then driving home, catching traffic, not catching traffic, but the whole day's gone. And it's definitely been an adjustment. And I go through moments where I'm like, it's good, I got a handle on it, I'm all in my routine and my flow. And then other times it's like, I'm like, okay, I've reached my limit, like can feel it. And driving home last night, anyway, the long story is about that. When I worked out, I was like, I think I've driven like close to 6,000 Ks in the last 5 weeks. I'm like, oh, that'll do it, Hannah. So, you know, it's like whenever you're going through something, or something's overwhelming, or that you could feel it building, like we know what that feels like, right? We know what it feels like when it just, it's scream, like want to have enough, or it's too much and we want to shut down, or we go into addictions, or we sleep more, or we binge more, and whatever it is. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, when it's reaching that point, the first thing is like, have a check-in. Like, actually, what have you been doing in the last week? Like, what have you been doing the last month? What have you been, like, just go easy on yourself, you know? Like, and it's not like, oh, well, blaming all this stuff. It's like, reality check, because especially as a single parent, or as anything, you know, or anything, or anyone, right? Like, we can do it. And, you know, it's like, sometimes life is busy, and sometimes there's things that happen in life, and situations happen, or things come up, and it's like, it's full on at times, right? And sometimes we do it because we just do it. But then we sort of wonder why we're tired, or we wonder why we're not sleeping, or we wonder why we're overeating, or we wonder why we're, whatever the story is, right? And it's like, well, we'll just hang on, have a check-in, right? Let's just have a check-in. And when you can really revisit about just what you've been through, or what you're going through, and you could go back as far as like the last 6 months in a way. Do you know what I mean? And when you can really just witness yourself, you come into a space of like, instead of like, what's going on and what's happening to me? Like, why is this happening? Like, whatever the story is, for example, it's more like, whoa, I've just driven like nearly 6,000 Ks in the last 5 weeks. Like, okay, no wonder I'm feeling at my end of driving. No wonder I don't want to drive anymore. No wonder when I break down like 2 days ago, because I'm like, I still have to drive for the next couple of days. Like, daughter stuff, Easter stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, it's okay. I'm like, but because I checked in, I had a big cry as well. And I literally was in my tears. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, just, and it wasn't that I couldn't do it anymore. It was like, in that moment, I couldn't do it anymore. This is what's so important here. When you are trying to heal, when you are coping on your own, when you do everything on your own, and it's not like a badge of honor, it's like reality for a lot of people, right? So when we can really honor the feelings, okay, this is such an important piece in healing that a lot of people miss, okay, and a lot of in the spiritual communities, and you know, you've got to heal or whatever, a lot of people are like, okay, we're gonna like clear this energy and like get this out and like stop it, like, I gotta get this out of me, there's something like, but that comes from, did I make you laugh? Okay, I hope so. We need more laughter in the world, okay? There's a difference, okay? There's a difference. This is so important, okay? There's a difference between, okay, I know on a spiritual level I need to like clear this energy out, and there's a wound surfacing, and I need to do all these processes and get it out of me, to actually going, I can't do it anymore. Like, it's just like you're in it. There's a difference between being in it and actually like trying to get it out of you because something's wrong with you. It's a very different feeling, okay? This is so crucial. It's like when you're angry about something, instead of like being, oh, I'm really angry because that happened, I need to get this anger out. Like, I need to get it out because actually it's not okay. Compared to, I'm fucking angry and I'm pissed off that happened. Like, why did they have to do that? Like, blah, 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 to yourself or whatever, right? It's like, I'm really angry or I'm really upset. Like, I can't do this anymore. Not like, oh my God, okay, well, I just have to keep going. Like, you know, like, shut it down, okay? Or blaming all this, like, it's okay. Do you know what I mean? There's such a differentiation in like, I need to heal because I need to get this out of me and it's so bad because something's wrong with me and oh my God, it's something bad, and to actually like, I'm fucking angry about this, or I'm really tired, I need more sleep, I can't do it anymore. There's a real difference here. This is a really empowered, like, this is how I'm feeling, this is the reality, and it shifts it. Rather than like, oh my God, I need to get this out of me. Something's wrong with me and I don't know what it is, but it's bad. And it's like, you're not owning it. It's like you're trying to push it away because, oh my God, if people really saw what was wrong with me, oh my God, like, quick, I better get it out. Rather than being your full authentic self and going, you know what, this is not okay, and I'm really upset about this, and I'm really fucking pissed off about this, so no. There's a big difference there. Who resonates with this? Who can feel when I know who this person is, but they can leave a message, I don't know why they're calling. Anyway. All right, so when we're really looking at healing. I know I'm supposed to be talking about dimensions and portals and timeline drops and all this sort of thing. And I think that this start of this conversation is where we're going with this. Because the energies right now, and who agrees that they can feel, and I can see there's some comments here and I'll come back to this as well. Oh, I think I'll just say it now because the energy is, exactly, nervous, sad, so many strange things are happening. Olivia's been here forever. Love every minute of it. Yeah, so William's infected with something. I don't know if you mean just mentally or actually like physically got an infection. Yeah, so you're also a single mom as well. Yeah, it's full on at times, right? Like we love it, but it's full on. So, okay, so this whole like timeline jumping, reality shift, like all of these pieces, yeah, really comes into like if you really want to if you really want to shift your energy, if you really want to jump to the higher timelines, who's heard of like, you know, timeline jumping, and it's like, well, you can choose your reality and you can choose your timelines and, you know, just choose something positive. Like who's heard that before, right? And who also has tried it before and it doesn't work? Like, let me know, right? Let me know. Because the thing here with this is just like I was sharing about, can be really like owning your feelings, like I'm really angry or I can't do this anymore. The thing with admitting you can't do it anymore is instead of shoving it down, okay, because you've reached a limit, because you've driven 5,000 Ks or nearly 6,000 Ks in 5 weeks. Like when you've reached a limit and you're like, you can't do it anymore. Like if you do not own that, you suppress that and then it's like, it just builds up. Whereas if I just voice it, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, of course I know I can do it, okay? But at that moment, there's a part of me that's just exhausted. And if I don't own this is like shadow work real time, okay? This is a part of me that has had enough of driving on my own this far all the fucking time. Like, come on. Like, usually I love driving on road trips, but like, it's a different lifestyle in the country, right? And so when it's like in this space of like owning how you feel, you shift it. It keeps the flow going. There's a power there. It keeps the wheels turning instead of like, eek, could better not feel that. And it's like a grain of sand and it like gets stuck and it bogs everything down, right? And then from this standpoint, like, oh, I better not admit that. So like, quick, put it out or better like pretend it's like covering up again, yeah? When we can own how we're feeling in the moment, it allows the flow to continue. Okay, just because you say you can't do it doesn't mean that you can't do it, because deep down you know that you can. You know that you have to. You know that ultimately you have the strength to, and you've done it before and you will continue to. But in the moment, it's okay to voice your true, authentic feelings, also known as your heart. Follow your heart, follow your bliss. Only happens if you can be fully authentic with all of your feelings. It's not just the positive, good, happy, love and light. Like this is the raw, the dark, the I can't do it anymore. Breaking down, falling apart, angry, happy. So like the full spectrum. If you cannot be real with all of the feelings that make up your heart, and you say that you want to follow your heart or you want to be open your heart and have an open heart, I'm like, how can you do that if you can't feel the full range of emotions? And the biggest part about this is a lot of people think, oh, if I feel negative emotion, like, you know, I'll drop and lower my vibration. And I'm like, if you do not feel the full spectrum of all that you are shutting a part of yourself down, and that becomes an anchor and it gets stuck on the timeline, and there's parts of you stuck all the way back through your timeline of your life because you didn't feel that grief back then, so it's anchored you in a point in the timeline back then. Subconsciously, you're recreating those, you know, scenarios over and over and over again. You wonder why you're not moving forward. So when we're talking about timeline jumping, you know, choosing your timeline right now, the biggest thing, and I was speaking about this to someone yesterday as well, like, you know, they sent me a message and they're like, oh, there's like weird energy going on and like, you know, something bad's going to happen basically in a way, you know, and it was like, in a sense of, you know, and I was like, I was in a good space. Like I had my cry the night before. And the thing is if I don't cry, right, like when I did and I'd had enough, right, I would have buried that and I would have been angry as fuck the next day and also very tired. But because I had a big cry, I was fine. I was like, sweet, like, let's do this. because I didn't bottle that up. I let it flow. And so my energy still flows. So my connection is still connected to spirit, right? And I stay connected to my heart and my flow. And when they message me and they're like, something bad's gonna happen, like, you know, just got this bad feeling, and I'm like, and I just posted my like daily reel, like as I'd got that message, and I was setting the daily reel and I was like, maybe you can watch this and this is the answer to your problem. And I also sort of got a little intuitive message, and I said, what did I say? I said, where have you dropped your standards to what you really want? Like you've dropped your standards from what you really want, sorry. And like got messages back like, oh yeah, I think you're right. And, you know, and it was like, you know, whenever you feel like, oh my God, like the world's going to end, something bad's going to happen. Like, oh my God, war's about to start. Like reality is, and I saw this on whatever program I was watching it like not long ago or whatever. I was like, there's always a war about to start. There's always something bad going to happen. Like, you know, it's like, there's always something happening. Which timeline are you going to be on? The war one or the life one? Because this is the reality. Yeah? Again, it's not that we're ignoring the world stuff, but we're also choosing like, and something that I pointed out, this is about choosing the timelines right now, guys. This is so important, okay? If you really want to step out of fear and step into your life, this is the most important live stream you could ever listen to, okay? Because the reality is that there is always a war about to start. If you look back over the centuries, there's always a war about to start. Someone is always getting knocked off the throne. Someone is always getting put out of power. Every 4 years, there's a new election. And like there's always about to be change, right? And we can be like, sit in the drama of it and like, oh my God, I better stock up, or whatever the story is, right? Whatever it is. Or we can be like, you know what? The sun is still shining. I'm still breathing. Let's go live life. The other important piece, and I was speaking to my client about this the other day, and she got sucked into the, you know, world's about to end stuff. And on a deep level, and I was like, you know what? I was like, you could get on a plane and you could fly to Dubai and you could be in like pure opulence. There would be plenty of food, with plenty of money, with plenty of cars, with plenty of like all the like just pure opulence. I was like, or you could be like in your surroundings and like have all the like better stock up and war's about to start and blah, like I'm like, this is the choosing your reality. This is the choosing your timelines. This is the choosing like this, like if you just want to like step out of your little box for a minute, okay? Anyone who's struggling right now, because literally I want you to sit there for a minute and I want you to imagine yourself getting on a plane and going to Dubai. Not like, oh, I can't afford that. You're missing the point. In your mind, get on that fucking plane and fly to Dubai and get off. I'm just picking Dubai, okay? Pick a city that feels like opulence to you, okay? Because the reality is that right now, poverty exists and abundance exists. Right now, war is happening and not war is happening. Right now, there is so much of this. And the thing about the timeline jumping is that you could be here or you could be here. And you're like, Hannah, I'm like here because this is my reality. I'm like, in your fucking mind it is. Yes. Yes. Right now, I could walk out my door and I could be like, fuck, it's a beautiful day. And oh my God, look at all this abundance of sunshine and the birds. Can you hear the birds? Hoping you can hear the birds. Ah, it's beautiful. And the big green rolling hills. Look how much space and abundance there is. Or I could literally walk out the door and I could be like, oh my God, there's dirt on the floor and I'm so over the bugs. Trust me, I've been here. Oh my God, there's nothing out here. I better go and stock up because war's about to hit. And if I hear a plane flying over, I'm going to freak out that they're going to drop a bomb. Like, I'm sure this happens in some points in reality right now, okay? I'm trying to get my point across is that this is the power that, number one, you have to take your freaking power back, to live your life, to step out of the fear and scarcity, to step out of your mind and into your heart. That right now you could literally get on a plane, not in your heart, like in physically, I mean, maybe you physically could too, okay? You literally book a flight and go to Dubai and step off that plane and be in pure opulence. Like, let's be real for a minute, okay? If you want to start shifting your life, shift your mind. If you're stuck in your current reality, every day for 30 days, get into meditation and sit there and visualize what it would feel like. Like, go on a journey in your mind, okay? And get on the flight and go explore Dubai. I don't know, watch videos of it. I don't know, something, right? Again, I'm just picking Dubai. You can pick anywhere, okay? You could literally step into abundance and opulence right now. This is the timeline. This is the point of power. This is the timeline jumping. And if you start to go into that fear, or if you start to go into like, oh shit, or you just feel weird or strange, ask yourself, where have I dropped my standards for what I know is true for me, for what I believe in? And where have I compromised thinking that I can't do something when actually I can, because this is actually what I believe in, and I actually was listening to someone else who was listening to someone else talk about some fierce and scarcity thing, and I'm just so sick of that. Because it's making me feel like shit. And your power comes in putting a boundary in place and you're going, you know what? I'm going to fly to Dubai every day for the next 30 days and see what actually shifts. Because I guarantee you, if you commit to that, it'll shift. Yeah? Danielle says, so true. Someone was like, crap, stock up. Eye rolls. There was good vibes kicking about days ago, go tap into them. But then I remember they might just have woken up. Exactly, right? Like, I know, it's like when somebody's in it, they're in it, okay? But, you know, when people message me or whatever, I'm like pointing shit out to them, and especially with my clients, I'm like, we can get on a plane and go to Dubai. I'm like, this is the reality right now. Like, this is real. That is real. You could literally book a flight, bing, and go. And you can't even use the excuse of like, oh, well, there's COVID and like can't fly. And I'm like, that's not happening anymore. You can fucking fly to places. Bali, exactly. Like, whatever is that for you, yeah? And so this is the reality of the timeline jumps, right? And it's like, you know, if you're feeling stuck or bogged down, or you're like, you don't know your next steps, or you feel yourself getting pulled in, or you just feel weird, like ask yourself those questions and pull yourself back up to the timeline. Because, so I can't remember if it was like December 2021. Well, I don't know if it was December 2020, maybe it was. And you know how there was like big spiritual stuff going around about like the earth splitting in two? Who remembers that, right? I just can't remember if it was 2020 or 2021. So the earth splitting in two, and people were like, oh my God, like really? You know, and I was like, it's the consciousness splitting in two. Like, and this is the reality of the timelines. And as we've gone on a couple of years later, it's like, this is the reality. You could literally be over here, or you could literally jump over here. You know, and if you need that reality check, like just think like I could get on a plane and go to somewhere completely different, and it's a completely different reality. You want to talk about, you know how we talk about time travel and portals and, you know, like time travel, I'm like, we literally do that when we get in a car. We literally do that when we get in a plane, you know, it's just like extending that to other places, of course. But the time travel is real. Like you could literally get on a plane and go to Africa, or go to, I don't know, America or wherever it is, and you're literally in a different realm, different culture, different world. Like, let's be real. Timeline jumping and time travel exists right now today. Yeah? Okay, let's have a look here at the comments. Does anyone have any questions about what I said at all? Sarah says it's exhausting if I don't cry. I've got to let it flow. Yeah, you want your energy back? Have a big cry. So important, right? So important. Okay. Yeah, sounds like you're working on that, William. And I trust that you're getting some clean up stuff. And yeah, what we're being shown on videos is, you know, it's always good to double check. Someone sent me a reel the other day and I was like, what? At the Grand Prix? Like they showed the schedule of like the Grand Prix and I'm like, what? I was like getting on the website of the Grand Prix and I was like, it's not on the schedule. I like went back to the reel. I'm like, I can't see where this is on the Grand Prix website. What are you talking about? And all these people liked the comment and I'm like, question everything, double check everything. Don't take it for like, you know, like don't take it for face value. Like do your friggin' research. So I'm just wondering if Robin's still here with that comment. Simon says, I've been dizzy since Christmas and I can't shift it. I'm wondering if Simon is still here. Sarah says, me bouncing all over the place now. Yeah, and the thing is that when we go to like, you know, when we jump back to the timeline that we know is real for our heart, when we jump back to the timeline that we know is like right for us in these moments, like this is where we really come into like collapsing timelines, accelerating timelines, things, opportunities coming out of the blue that we wouldn't have thought of or happened because we're choosing our path. We're choosing what we know to be true for us, even if we don't know how it's going to manifest. It's like, this is when we just believe and we act as though, and what I mean by like act as though, it's not like fake it till we make it. It's like, this is the timeline that I choose. This is what I believe. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to stay here until it does, rather than like, oh no, I'm not sure. And we go down and down and down. So we're not doing that. We're not doing that, right? And then also just so curious if, if Robin's still here with that comment too. Just going to refresh this because sometimes the comments disappear. Oh, the buildings are dimensions. So this is something else that's come to my awareness just recently, is about the, the buildings are portals. And like, I've always said it for quite some time. And then I was showing a few things in like the last month and I'm like, I knew it. I knew the buildings were portals, like in between the dimensions. Like we know of like tunnels or waterfalls or the ocean floor, you know, and it's like there's certain buildings, I think a lot, and this is where people come to me for like a house clearing, you know, like there's spirits in the house or something's going on in the house, can you do an energy clearing on it? And obviously there's a few factors that we look at when, you know, we do a clearing energy of the land and also of the house and whatever's going on. And number one is we check the people. What's going on with the people in the house? How many people in the house? Is there drugs and alcohol in the house? Is there arguing and fighting in the house? Like, let's just check all this stuff first. And then we go to the house, right? Because, you know, the thing is that the dimensions and the interdimensions all overlap. You know, and it's especially when you first move into a house, you notice it more, and it's like, yeah, like, am I feeling the previous people? And you know, and at times we can feel it as well when the veil is thin, which is so interesting. So if you need energy clearing or anything, or if you need support, send me a message. We can work out what session would be best to do an energy clearing or go deeper into what's really going on. So Sarah says, I'm just back from Spain, no masks, no vaccines needed, felt like it was before, was so good for the soul, nothing more therapeutic. I love that. Sounds amazing. Yeah, it's like, I want to say it's all going back to normal. It's not the right words. Like there's been a lot of change from everything, right? And there's a lot of, what's the word? Like the damage is already done to an extent with certain things. So, you know, there's a lot of healing to happen coming up already as well, but people are not ready for this level of consciousness, not for another few years, but it's coming. So if you'd like one-on-one time with me, if you know there's stuff to shift so you can come back to life, you've probably seen my life 6-week mentoring with me where we go deep, phone calls, like going through back and forth and Telegram support, voice message, text message, ask me anything, and I'll help to intuitively unpick, piece together, pull apart, heal, see what's going on. We're gonna get you back to life. So life is 6 weeks and it actually closes next week. So I'm gonna pop the link in the comments. You can send me a message if you've got any questions about it. So returning the original blueprint of the earth that was hijacked. Yes, exactly. Okay, so I'm going to jump over into my reality awareness support group and do some private psychic readings in there. So it is a private group. If you're not a member in there, just comment support and we will give you the link for the group. If you're already in there, I'll see you over there in a moment because I'm going to do psychic readings. See you soon.